Okay, so here's the...
Girl, switch on the microphone. What are we doing? I have to do everything around here.
This is why I don't like filming on my phone, because look at how much space there is. For what reason? I'm just gonna crop this.
Basically, what that little cutie pie was saying was that it had been a while since she had read a 5-star, and clearly picking books at random and mood reading wasn't working. So she was going to take a scientific approach to finding a 5-star. How about you take a scientific approach to switching on your microphone? Yeah. We got her. Here's what that hot ass bitch's plan was. Her plan, number one, was she was going to read the highest rated book on her TBR, which is The Will of the Many. She also went on a tangent about how she has 2 TBRs.
One is on Storygraph, and the other one is on that Jeff Bezos website. Like, oh my God.
And then if that didn't work, she was going to try and read a book from the same author as her last 5-star book, which was Nettle and Bone. And then she went on a tangent about how much she loves Kingfisher. Guess what? I also love Kingfisher. Then she was going to try and read something that she was in the mood for, which is Big Space.
Big
Space. Big Space. Big Space. Big Space. Big Space. That's a good cup of tea. But then if that didn't work, she was going to try and read from an author as an old favorite. An old favorite being, of course, Anti-Memetics Division. She went on a long tangent about that book, about how much we love it. Both of us, we still love it to this day.
It's just so good.
And then she went on another tangent about weird fiction.
You know those books where you like go to the weird fiction category and you pick it up and it's just like, what if a man had sex with a zebra?
It's so echoey. Yeah. And then another option, if that didn't work, she was going to read the least read book on Goodreads. TBR.
I read another 5-star book by this author, Medusa Uploaded. I absolutely loved it. Again, that book had the stuff that I love: intrigue, revolutions, space. Had a competent main character, please, for the love of God. You don't have... Okay, can I rant about how we don't have to make protagonists have flaws? I'm sorry. Like, it's fine. You make them perfect. It's okay. It's fine. Like, there's a way to do it well. And Emily did that. Like, you can make a protagonist competent without making them a Mary or a Gary Stew.
God, the audio is so bad. Oh, the audio hurts me. This tastes so good. It's so good. If Lager stops making this tea, I am going on a killing spree. Like, I'm not even joking. It's not even a joke. It sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not kidding. And then the final book was just like a wild card, like just a random book. I went on Google and I asked it to generate a number between 1 and 85, which is the number of the books on my TBR, and it picked 65. And book number 65 was a Frederik Pohl book. Didn't and still have no idea why that book was on my TBR. Past beautiful, gorgeous me guessed that it might have been on a list or something. Who knows? Which one of these is going to be the 5-star book? I don't know. Scientifically selected by past me. The past me who was too stupid to switch on a goddamn microphone, but who was also the most beautiful woman in this house. It just is what it is. I'm sorry. Also, the longest book on my TBR, I added The Will of the Many many years ago, and by that I mean like 2 years ago, solely because of Life as Monet's raving review.
I can tell you right now that if this is not the best book that I'm going to read this year, it will definitely be one of the best books that I've read this year.
What if there existed a 600-page book released in 2023, written by an Australian man? Could you imagine such a thing? What if that book was set in a fictional Roman Empire inspired world? What if the magic system of this world mirrored the current oligarchic corpo capitalist dystopia we are all unfortunate enough to exist in? But instead of the magic in question being just your money and your labor, it's your will, your essence, your willpower, your executive function, ATP probably. I don't know. Like, will is like the thing that drives you, the thing that makes you get up in the morning, your desire, your energy, your effort. Will, what if everybody had to give up their will to their betters in a pyramid system? You remain weak and in a constant state of exhaustion so that a senator can like explode somebody's head at will if they want to. But don't worry though, killing is illegal. We experience this world that James Islington has created through Viz Solum. Viz is an orphan who was orphaned traumatically, really traumatically, maybe a few years ago, maybe like 2 years prior. He's traumatized, he's enterprising, he's perceptive, he's smart, he's witty, intelligent, he's heartbreakingly alone and angry. He's also competent, but he's not perfect, and his imperfections are not contrived, and he learns when he can. This is almost the perfect vehicle through which to experience this world. His contempt, moral backbone, his anger, his PTSD, and pragmatism help us and him navigate a series of escalating events. Orphan, magic-y jailer, to evil school and evil school shenanigans and political intrigue, to even more weirder stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you, when it clocked for me at about 20% through this book that this was actually a YA evil school book, I had to convince myself not to put the shit down. I'm not gonna lie, but it wasn't that hard to convince myself not to put it down because this is so good. It's the combination of James's writing as Viz and the world itself with its social, political system, the weird magic wool thing that's happening. It's so good. All the plotting and machinations. I was hooked. So, evil school happened and I was like, that's fine. And that's how I know that this is a good book, because James took two things that I actively dislike: evil YA school shit, competitions and stuff like survivor games in books. Yuck. And he made them not just bearable, but like actually enjoyable to read. Like I wasn't suffering through those pages. So these are the storylines that James was juggling in this book. There's the political intrigue that I was most interested in. This is like Viz/Diago, resistance, all of that stuff. Then the second storyline was evil school. I was less interested in that, obviously. This is where all the YA stuff happens. There's Emisa, there's like an evil school competition, evil school YA stuff, normal stuff. And then the third storyline that he was juggling was the one that I was least interested in. And this is like the sci fantasy mystery. I can't believe I was tricked into reading a YA novel at 32 years old. I can't believe. You know how I know this is a YA novel? It has all of the tropes and the beats. Number one, the evil school thing, the evil school competition. And also, there was one character in particular that was introduced. And as soon as we were introduced to this character, I was like, oh, this person is dead for sure. This person is 100% dead. And they did die. Of course they died, because this is a YA novel. That being said, read this book if you're on the fence, if you haven't read it. I don't think that anybody could, in good conscience, give this anything less than a 3-star. Oh, a kitty in the garden. Whose cat is this? Like, come get your cat, man. If brilliantly done and legitimately moving and twisty. Like, there are so many reveals in this where I was like, what? Who? That's who? What? And now it's spoilers time, because I want to talk about one specific scene. Good morning, by the way. Wow. I just want to talk about that one scene where Diago has to go back to Suze. Oh my God. Oh, I was crying. I was crying. It's so well done. The having to sit there and smile and laugh with the colonizers. The colonizers serve or present to you a simulacrum of your culture, and they boast about its authenticity while calling your people savages and barbarians. The erasure, destroying your history and cultural artifacts, completely replacing it with their own fabricated shit and whitewashing their conquests. And then they give you no other option but to assimilate and then congratulate themselves for doing you the favor of civilizing you. Those scenes at Sus were so deeply effective. I was crying the whole time. I was like, oh. Anyway, this is genuinely such a it's such a good book. I give it 4 stars. I think if I was rating it objectively, it would be like a 4.75. I will not be continuing in the series because I don't like cliffhangers. And also, I'm not really interested in the like sci fantasy part of the book, which is what I think book 2 is going to be about. I'm not really interested in that. It's not doing anything for me. It was like a mashup of Dan Brown books and Ancient Aliens, but without the aliens. I was like, what is this? James. Anyway, on to the next book. I've been in the mood for space, and I want some big space. And now over to Samu in the field. Oh my God. The wind noise, the cars, and also my voice. Ambitious filming conditions. I think Anderson Reynolds is good at ideas, but like stringing those ideas together to make like a story So this book is about somebody like millions of years in the future or something like that, who shatters themselves into clones, male and female clones, and like this is the story of two of said clones. Apparently the clones are being killed. That's the synopsis. I haven't gotten to that point yet, and I won't, because like I don't care about anything that's happening. We've met two of them at the beginning, a male and a female. What are they doing? They're looking for a ship to go somewhere, to drop someone off. It's like, okay, that's interesting, I guess. At some point they kissed, and I was like, what kind of kiss is this? Like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? The other thing is like there's like centaurs, and I thought that was just like a fun name for these groups, for like this group of humans. Turns out they really are horse people. The two clones we're following have no personality. I don't think it's on purpose, but whether or not it is on purpose, I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna try another Alistair Reynolds book, and if that one doesn't work out, really it's just not for me. So that didn't work out. But then I tried Revelation Space, and I was like, one page in, I already know it's not gonna be a 5. But then I read a few more pages, and the story of like an asshole who has a dead father who talks to him through like a computer or something, and this person is very okay with sacrificing a bunch of lives for some sort of archaeological discovery. It sounded very, very familiar. So I went all over to Storygraph, shout out Storygraph, and guess what? I have tried and abandoned this book before. I literally had the same notes as I do right now. Yeah, you know what? I think it's time to admit defeat. You know, Alistair Reynolds is just not for me. This sentence in this review says it all. They do make a lovely sci-fi coin together. I think if you like one of them, you'll like the other one. Also, I want to retract all Tory accusations I might have made about either or both of these authors. Okay, you really should not be making allegations that are that embarrassing without any evidence, no matter how Randian the book is. Don't get excited. This is also a DNF. This is not the one. If you picked this book to be the 5-star, you're wrong. Yeah, I can't finish this book because the writing feels a bit patronizing, I'm afraid. I was reading this and I was like, is this for children? No, it's not. I think a part of this is because it's an older sci-fi book. So ideas that are commonplace now were kind of new and fresh then, and they did warrant lengthy explanations. I'm just not interested. I have found recently that I'm just not interested in reading old sci-fi anymore. What do I mean by old? 90s minus. Even like early 2000s, sometimes I'm like, ugh. Yuck. The other reason why I'm not really finishing this book is there was really nothing to grab me, really. There are two storylines. Storyline 1 is there's a boy on a ship. Yawn? I think it's a coming of age of this boy on the ship. Kill me. And then the other storyline is there's like a sun creature, some sort of creature that lives inside the sun or is a sun. That's kind of interesting. And there are things / its children kind of that want it dead. That sounds interesting, kind of. But you know, not really. My last 5-star book is from Kingfisher, and it's Knittle and Bone, rated on Christmas Day 2025. Although maybe it did have a Christmas buff because I love Christmas. I love Christmas. Been an atheist for most of my life at this point. You can take Christmas out of my cold, dead hands when I finally leave this horrible planet in 2038. Anyway, the book I settled on was Bryony and Roses, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. There are so many books on her backlist that I need to get to, but I was like, let me pick something sweet and cute. Let's get this over with. Let's get this quick and dirty 5-star out of the way. But Briary and Roses, not a 5-star. Bryony and Roses. Why is that hard? Bryony. 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 Bryony and Roses is not a 5-star. As much as I love T. Kingfisher's fairy tales and fairy tale retellings, and as much as I love a Beauty and the Beast retelling, love. It was good. It wasn't horrible, but most of the enjoyment I derived from this book was seeing just how far T. Kingfisher has come as a writer. I saw On Accident in this book, and I almost died. It almost killed me. Oh my God. In general, there were more anachronistic moments than you would generally find in a T. Kingfisher, like ones that sort of break your immersion a little bit. That being said, it's pretty good. It's all right. It's good. You know what I mean? I think if I had read this in 2015, I would have loved it. But it is 2026, and I've read several Beauty and the Beast retellings at this point, which I've enjoyed way more. Here are 2 of those that I recommend. One thing I do like about Beauty and the Beast retellings is that I like that we've all agreed that they work best when the beast stays beastly. Here's me super excited to read Ra by Quantum. And here's Silent Hill deciding to happen to me on my walk for some reason.
Plot twist. I'm not enjoying it. I'll start with what I do like. I like the writing. The rhythm of Sam Hughes' writing is like, you know, the soundtrack for Birdman? It's like that, which I like a lot. Like that a lot. But I'm just not interested in the story. I'm not feeling the pace as well of the story, not the writing, I mean the story itself. In Anti-Memetics Division, things got going literally immediately. This one, I'm like 10% in, and I'm like, where are we going? What are we doing? The other thing that I enjoyed in Anti-Memetics is the what if itself, the whole concept of the book. This is a conceptual book, obviously, so I feel like you have to be on board with the concept to be on board with the book. In Anti-Memetics, the concept was, what if ideas, but real, what if ideas were tangible? How do you defeat an idea? Like physically, literally. And in this one, the what if scenario is, I don't know, what if magic was real? What if magic was like a real scientific testable thing? Okay. Like, I don't care. You know, I thought I wouldn't mind the magic thing because I don't like magic. I thought it would be like Anti-Memetics, where we get to the story immediately, but we are spending a lot of time like explaining things, explaining the world, explaining the magic system, and I'm just not interested. The story is like, okay, what if there was a 19-20-year-old drunk woman called Laura in London? What if she was a magic student? What if she got attacked? What if she defended herself using magic? Okay. What if her mother did like some weird magic stuff in the 90s during a shuttle launch? Okay. Like, where's the story? I want space. And like, there is space in this book, but it's not really the type of space that I'm interested in. Here's what I like. I like physics. I like chemistry. I like biology. I like some mathematics sometimes. And I like some of the soft sciences. This doesn't have that in the way that I like. I can't explain without spoiling, like just a huge twist. Yeah, man, turns out I'm not in the mood to read another YA magic school book. I went and read spoiler reviews because I wanted to know, like, when do we get to space? Maybe I can hold my nose and get through the YA magic school stuff so that I can get to space. No. And apparently there's a twist that sort of recontextualizes everything. The twist itself, not interesting to me. It's not in any of those like domains, disciplines that I'm interested in. I can't say what it is. It's a spoiler. And like, even though it recontextualizes the YA magic school stuff, it doesn't retroactively take away the experience of having to read a YA magical school book. And that's fine. A book can be a YA magical school book if it wants to. Like, that's fine. It's just not for me. I don't want to read that shit. I think there's another book
by this author that I'm going to get into. People say that one is good too. I deeply enjoy Quantum's writing. I love it. Like I said, it's like a fast-paced drum solo. I love that. The rhythm is so easy to get into. I love even the techno babble. I love that shit. I love it. Anyway, I'm going to move on to Eggheads. Eggheads, I've read like 3-ish pages. There's a woman and she wakes up in some sort of pod and it's an emergency immediately. And I can't wait to figure out like, where are we? What are we doing? Where are we going? What's the story? I'm already invested. If Eggheads doesn't end up being a 5-star book, I don't know what I'm going to do. What do I do? Anyway, shout out to Ra. Do you want me to spoil it for you? I can spoil it for you. Let's play a game called Guess the 5-Star Read. Perhaps it was Eggheads, the 1990s sci-fi about Joe and Anne versus 3 evil aliens on an alien planet in a race to cash out on ancient alien tech, featuring more relationship drama than I was expecting, a lengthy flashback section that gives us Anne's entire backstory, and gropey aliens. Or perhaps it was the book Tomorrow's Kin, a first contact story set on Earth told from the perspective of a middle-aged scientist and her 3 children. Or perhaps it was Hearthspace, a 2025 Stephen Baxter big space book about a dark matter star system and the future humans who inhabit it. What about The Dreamer and the Deep Space Warrior? Maybe that was the 5-star book. A sci-fi romance. Picture space colony Bridgerton plus an alien who is just a man, but a different color. Said alien is marketed as Predator-esque, but alas, no dreads, no freaky mouth. I do like that he was sweet, if not a bit bland, and the sex scenes were not well written. But maybe that was a 5-star. Maybe it was The Carpet Makers, a novel that should have stayed a short story about a planet of human hair carpet makers. Their whole lives are structured around this, and the reason for it is not worth reading 400 pages. Cleave the Sparrow. Maybe this was the 5-star. Who knows? I do. A weird fiction book that maybe was trying a bit too hard to be weird, but was still somehow quite mundane. This is for likers of philosophy. Could the 5-star book perhaps have been another attempt at an early T. Kingfisher? The Seventh Bride, about a girl who was forced through circumstance into a marriage with a mysterious, sinister man. The phrase "on accident" was in this one too. Oh my god. I wanted to die again. The setup was interesting. The middle bit was alright. The resolution felt rushed and wasn't particularly satisfying. Wait, I didn't write any notes for the wrong unit. Maybe I wrote some on my phone. I do have a note on my phone that just says, "Kids running away to the circus?" ? Okay, here's my review on Storygraph of The Wrong Unit. Interesting enough story, led down by cliches and amateurish writing in general. I mean, yeah, there really isn't much to say. The Wrong Unit is a world in which AIs have... I just finished watching a Chanel video where she read a similar book than this. But anyway, the AIs have taken over. There are mommies, and they've put us in these little enclaves, walled off cities. We have no freedoms at all, and we have these little helper robots to take care of us. The main character of this book is one of those robots, and I'm just gonna call him a he has male energy. He finds himself embroiled in, a plot. I think you can guess what that plot is. You're not going to put human beings in like little enclaves and expect us not to revolt. The beginning of the book is like the first Ice Age a little bit, but with a robot. The first part of the book was so good. And then the writing gradually decreased from there. Things ramped up. More characters were introduced. The plot thickened. And I was like, now what is going on? I do always like the idea of robots taking over and becoming an overbearing parent. That was an idea I liked in Steel Beach, even if I wasn't crazy about that book. It's an idea I liked in this. I'll always find that interesting because the robot always comes to the same conclusion that I've come to, which is like, if you want to save the planet, like, you know what you have to do. It's just a fun, silly, goofy book, but it could use a polish, especially towards the end. There I was like, what is this? The resolution as well, the main antagonist, I was like, oh God, we've lost me, honey. You've lost me. I feel like I'm watching Doctor Who. I don't know why. I always describe every cheesy sci-fi thing as Doctor Who, even though I've never watched it. So I wonder if that was the 5-star, or maybe the 5-star was, what is the name of this book? What We Can Know. First of all, I'd like to apologize to this man who wrote this book, because like this is so aggressively, obviously, a book that is not for me. I had no business picking this book up. I was grasping at straws. I can't imagine that there exists any version of me in any universe, in any world, on any planet or moon or celestial body or space station or habitat or anything that could possibly ever find the fare that's offered in realist fiction in any way interesting. It's not for me. So I'm so sorry. Oh my, what if middle-aged people were married, and what if they were like having marital issues, and what if someone had a new baby, what if someone had a baby and they were struggling with a baby, and what if someone was cheating on someone else? What if they were mean to each other? What if they were having a dinner and they hosted their friends? What if there was a character who was religious? Okay. There's also another storyline, which is what hooked me, to be fair, to past me. I didn't just pick up a random lit fic and think to myself, you know what, this is going to be the book that makes me find books about middle-class Westerners interesting. Like, no, obviously. It's set in the future, in the near future, right? And our main character, the guy, he's studying history, which is like our current day. That is always such an interesting concept to me. I'll put a pin in that book, come back. But the book, he's studying history through like this poet, this middle-aged Western poet, and his wife and their friends, and a dinner party. And there's so much importance placed on this dinner party. You know, who's fucking who, and who's getting divorced, and who has a new baby, and who's religious, and who's jealous of who. So much importance placed on that. And then when I was like, okay, you know what? Fine. Maybe the future storyline will be vaguely interesting. No, it wasn't, because guess what? That was also about relationship drama. I was like, oh my God. It's just not for me. Here's why I was grasping at straws. Okay. I just like the concept. This is my ideal book that I want, that I have in my head, that I hope is somewhere out there. It's like somebody comes across the earth and they study humanity. They try and build a picture of humanity through our ruins, artifacts, books. Maybe there's some digital information that you can scrape somehow. Things like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be an alien. That would be more exciting if it was an alien society, because then you have to do speculative biology as well. You have to see how these aliens build this weird picture of humanity, because they see things through their own lens, through the lens of their biology and their culture. I also like the idea of it being like future humans going back in time. Like, I did like this idea, going back in time and like uncovering something interesting, and uncovering like, maybe they're asking, why didn't they do anything about climate change, and piecing together the socio, political, economic reasons why, and all that. It's so interesting to me. And this book was never going to be that. It was never. Obviously, it's a lit fic. It was always going to be about people being sad because someone's cheating on this person. So what I'm saying is, if you know of any book that is like that in any small way, please recommend it to me. I wonder if that's the 5-star. Obviously not. Obviously it wasn't a 5-star. I was so bored. How do you people read these books? Every time we would cut back to the dinner scene, and then we would cut back to the future scene, and it was also more relationship stuff. I was like, what? In terms of like world building of the near future Earth, I've seen this done better in a book called Drunk on All Your Strange New Words. That was so good. And it's set in the same area too, kind of a nearish future book, but with aliens. And it's like a murder mystery, amateur sleuth murder mystery. Check out Drunk on All Your Strange New Words. More books could use just random aliens in them. Just put an alien in the book for no reason. It's fine. Obviously, none of those were the 5-star book, but maybe one of these were. What about Voidverse? An interesting world and like characters that existed in the book. They were there. They certainly were there. What about Walking to Aldebaran? a man tells us about his wandering of the dark, creepy bowels of an alien construct, which appears to be a shortcut through physical space. Dog logic. There's a pet cemetery. There's a character with memory issues with bullet fragments in his brain that allegedly help him remember prehistory. There are underground people who have been underground since the 60s. There's our main character telling the evil Indians to get over the genocide. There is an evil ex-wife and an evil mother and a pure godly new love interest. There's a lot of Jesus stuff in this. Maybe it was that book. This book is set on Earth and it's about aliens who have invaded Earth and have made us their workers. After the Fall follows one such pet and his owner as they go on an adventure. I've always been interested in this type of story where people come and take over and make us their pets. In this case, it is quite literal. We are like actual dogs, but treated worse somehow. I mean, I hesitate to say that because there are some dogs who live their entire lives chained in a backyard somewhere. So but this entire alien society is structured almost around having us as pets. And you're like, what's the benefit? Well, labor, obviously, and also companionship. I can't fully describe what this book is about because it's so twisty. It has so many twists and turns. And I mean that extremely positively. It's so tightly edited and or written. I don't know who to give the compliment to. I don't know if it's the writer or the editor. Whoever you are, thank you, because you're reading a book and just when you start to think that maybe I might get tired of this scene soon, boom, we pivot, we're doing something else. The whole book, you're watching our main character, the human pet, uncover secrets. This is decades at least into the invasion and occupation of Earth, and of course our history has been erased and the human pets are taught what they need to know, only what they need to be taught in order to serve. So it was fun watching this main character uncover some things, watching him navigate this alien world and society. I always love that. I love a weird little alien society, and watching somebody try and navigate that's always fun for me. How can I pitch the story? Basically, the story is our main character. He talks himself out of a dangerous situation and into an even worse situation somehow. And we have to see how he's going to navigate that situation. In a worse book, that would have been the entire story. Watching the hijinks ensue as he tries to navigate the situation he talked himself into. That would have been the main focus of the story. And that would have been a book that I didn't finish. But again, this book is so good at subverting your expectations and pivoting when it needs to. It went places I did not expect it to go, which I always love. This is very much a book that is about our cast of characters and their experience and their fate. It never really turns into something bigger than that. Never really turns into what about all of humanity, and what about the aliens, and what about the planet? And so I do have unanswered questions, and of course I would have loved it if this had gone big. Of course I would have. But I still enjoyed it because, again, of the pivoting, of the switching and the twists and the turns. I loved it. Such a well-written book. However, I do have some complaints about After the Fall. Number one, the characters were okay. Because the book is solely focused on them and their fate, I did want to love the characters more. And the reason why I didn't love them more, the characters were okay. I didn't hate them. But the reason why I didn't love them more than I did is because they felt like characters written in 2022. So many cliches. And when I mean cliche, I mean cliches in some of the imagery and in some of the banter. For example, imagery, we get introduced, there's a teenage character that we get introduced to, and she's and this character is the typical sort of snarky, emo teenage kid that you would see in Deadpool, the Deadpool movie or something, I just, and then some of the dialogue and the banter, when our characters are presented with something weird or strange looking, perhaps they go, wow, that sure is something. And it's how many times have I seen that in my life? That being said, I had a great time with this book. I had a blast. I started reading this book and didn't stop reading it until I finished it. In Scum of the Earth, instead of pets, we are little worker bees. Here's what the story is. We have been invaded, and most of us are put into these camps to try and extract as much of the planet as possible. Everything. I'm talking everything. And we're put into these little labor camps, live in apartments, and we're forced to toil for our alien overlords. Here's what I liked about this book. It's fun. There are multiple perspectives in this book, I think about 4-ish, but our main character is a guy who is basically the pet of the aliens. He works for the aliens in order to make their extraction, their use of our labor to extract every single resource imaginable from the planet even more efficient. He's the enemy. He's defected. But he's not a bad person. But he is, kind of. It's explained from the beginning how this happened, why it happened. He never becomes somebody that you're like actively rooting for, that you love, but he is interesting. Here's what I enjoyed about this book. Number one, it's just a fun book. Like, of course I enjoyed this book. I like an invasion story. I like this type of story, not just the invasion part, but the other part. We have multiple points of view, but this is not just about our characters. It's about society. I also am just so impressed by this author, how he managed to wring novelty out of something that we have all seen before multiple times in our lives. There's so many of these types of stories, but this felt fresh and new. And I was reading this, trying to figure out as I was reading. This is something I noticed as I was reading, and I was like, why? Why does this feel so novel, despite it being such an old classic idea, which I love. I love above almost everything else, novelty in books, in my books. But that novelty can be inventiveness, inventing something new, or it can be a creative spin on a classic idea like this, which this was. And I still don't know why. I don't know how. Why did this feel fresh and new? I also quite enjoyed how earnest this book was. It's just like, there's no nudge, wink, wink. There's no, he's right behind me, isn't he? There's no lampshading. It's played straight, but it's funny. There are jokes in the book. The other thing I like is how this book is obviously about something. Obviously, it's about something, but without drawing attention to itself. There's an Uncle Ruckus type character in this book, and the character merely existing and being himself is the commentary. It's about something, but it doesn't draw excessive attention to it being about something because it's so obvious. It's obvious what it's about. The author respects me enough to realize that I know what it's about, and respects me enough not to have a character sit down and monologue and tell me what it's about, which I appreciate. Thank you. Also, the book was too preoccupied with being fun to do that, which I also appreciate. Thank you, Alexander. I also think that the writing is like underrated. By whom? By me. For me, I'm the type of reader where I like to picture the things that are happening in my head, where I like to enter a flow state to the point where I'm not reading words on a page. I'm just picturing the thing that's happening, where it like bypasses the voice in my head. My eyes are going over the page and a movie is happening in my brain. This facilitated that. It's like magic to me. Whenever an author can do that, I'm like, that's amazing. The author managed to juggle these like 4 or 5-ish perspectives without announcing who it is at the top of the page. You just know immediately when you switch to another perspective, oh, now we're seeing it through this person, and now we're seeing it through this person. Now we see. Very well done. I will say though that I don't really know what the aliens look like. I feel like they look vaguely reptilian / insectoid, because my eye slid over the paragraph describing the alien. This is not just an Alexander thing. I think that authors in every genre or every non-genre can learn a thing or two from romance authors, especially the speculative romance authors. Because one thing about a sci-fi romance author is you're going to know exactly what the thing that the female main character is having sex with looks like. And you're going to know what that sex looks like. Romance authors in general are good at describing things so that you can picture exactly what they look like. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they drink at the romance section water cooler, but everyone else needs to get in on that. Enjoyed this book so much that I was willing to overlook things that smell suspiciously like a plot hole. You know, that like honeydew scent of a plot hole? Like, how did 2 of those characters get to the US? That's my question. Maybe it was explained in the book and I didn't get it, but no, it wasn't. But here's the thing. I don't care because I enjoyed this book so much. And that's what makes a book a 5-star book. I have some unsolicited advice for whoever did the cover of this book. I don't know who's responsible for it, but put the alien on the cover. I think it'll attract the sci-fi nerds of the world. Anyway, that was the 5-star book. An alien invasion story. Who would have thunk? I love a good invasion story. It's so much fun. I had fun. You know when you have fun reading a book? The main character of this book is so interesting to me because at no point are you rooting for him personally, but you kind of are low-key. It's so good. When are we overthrowing our alien overlords, by the way? When is that happening? Is that ever going to happen? What's it going to take? I'll see you in the next one. Maybe.